Your products could be absolutely perfect. Your marketing could be absolutely perfect. But without getting your employees on board, none of this may matter. We've heard a lot of very good ideas, very good examples, a lot of really good suggestions and recommendations and some tactics and some new metrics. But unless you get your employees fully engaged, none of that may matter at all. Because here's a core tenet. You cannot have delighted customers with disgruntled employees. It's like matter and antimatter. They don't go together. You just can't make that work. We need to change our focus in this case here from driving revenue at any cost this quarter to looking at the fourth sale first. So how do we go about changing our mindset so that we don't just bring in anybody who will pay us and we jeopardize relationships in order to bring in anybody who will pay us, but how do we think about the fourth sale first? The biggest reason why CCOs fail, and this is a lesson for you to take away from this, is the mismanagement of expectations as to how long it takes to generate this notion of customer centricity throughout the organization. It's not a quarterly basis. You mentioned that it was 10 years, 11 years for you at Hilton. Jeb Dastile is the Chief Customer Officer of Oracle and the 2009 Chief Customer Officer of the Year. He spent 3 years building the foundation for this notion of customer centricity throughout the organization before he accepted the role of Chief Customer Officer, because he felt like he needed the organizational clout and the credibility coming into this role in order to be effective. If I can go and get people who are not traditionally championing the customer experience to begin to champion this customer experience, then it's going to raise some eyebrows. It's going to raise the profile. People are going to start thinking, if so-and-so is doing this and they're not ever associated with customers, maybe there's something there that I need to focus on. And the impact was huge. She got some allies. She got a number of allies, all of the traditional ones, but she got very non-traditional allies here as well. And they started championing the cause. They got their employees on board. And because she got all of these allies, she no longer had to be the only champion, the only customer advocate in the company. How can you help every employee make a personal connection with a customer? There was one brilliant example that I heard a little while back where a company it was a B2B company, a software and technology company. They brought in key customers who had a big issue into the headquarters and had them present their issues in front of a big panel of software engineers. The software engineers had never smelt or touched a customer before. And it was the first time that they had ever been in the same room with a customer. And the customer presented the problem that they were having, and the engineers had 8 hours to go and find some solution to the customer's problem. It was amazing. These engineers absolutely loved everything that they were doing. They were engaged. They had a face rather than just some nebulous ticket number that was in their help and support system. Everybody can go and say, very informedly, I know what our customers want because it's outside on here. Here's the sheet that we can prove it. It gave them a personal face to the customer. And it gave them a reason to come to work in the morning and a reason to do just a little bit more to help this customer. A reason not to clock out at 5, but to stay just a little bit later to make sure that the customer was served. She opened up the Salesforce Chatter utility to all employees. This was in a mid-market technology company. And she said that the results were phenomenal. People whom she never thought would enjoy understanding what was going on in the customer's world were absolutely eating it up. They said, I never knew somebody was using our technology that way. I never knew that somebody would have that kind of a problem. And so by opening that up, she gave every employee a window into the sales process and the customer world. Every week, there was a sales meeting where they talked about the strategies of the where every salesperson talked about their strategy for working with this new account that was brought in, or current accounts. And they had to present what their prognosis was for the account, what the next steps were, what some of the challenges and obstacles were. This individual here, this Chief Customer Officer, opened this meeting up to everybody. Anybody in the company could come in and participate in this meeting. The meeting was, everybody thought he was crazy, first off, that they were sharing so much information. But in the end, what happened was that this meeting grew from 10 to 15 people to 120 people. The employees absolutely loved going into this information. We heard a little bit earlier that from Aaron of Dell, that our employees are starved for information about their customer. They're dying for it. They're clamoring for it. And if we can find ways of giving them this information, it motivates them to improve. And they can do far more than we might with our scope if we can get a whole slew of customer advocates through our organization. Yasmin Green is the Chief Customer Officer of Nationwide. It's a property and casualty company in the States. Very, very, very well known. She goes to an employee site, not to surprise them and hope to catch them in doing something wrong. She goes to learn and to reward. She takes a video crew along with her, and she goes searching through the organization, whether it's a call center or a claims center, whatever, it doesn't matter. She takes this video camera crew, goes looking for somebody that she's identified who has exemplified the type of behavior that she wants to encourage throughout the company. And they film this individual employee getting this award. And then she posts it up on the internet for everybody to see. This has been a huge hit. So that as soon as somebody gets wind that Yasmin is on her way, there's this whispering storm that takes off through the company, and everybody's saying, "Oh, Yasmin's here, Yasmin's here. Does she have her video camera with her?" And they absolutely love being visited by her because they expect that she's going to reward them. We made mention of this just a little bit ago from the folks from ING, the wall of tens, where they're highlighting all of their positive feedback and some of their negative feedback for all to see. It's all about how do we create this connection between our employees and the customers. The thing that's interesting is that the translation of the promotions and incentives piece here into the customer centricity world is not about money. There's been a lot of work done by the Gallup organization that has identified 12 key things that define employee engagement. And it's questions like, do I know exactly what's required of me? Have I been rewarded? Has somebody said something positively about me? Do I have a friend at work? Some of these may seem a little bit trite. However, the key thing is here that the rewards and incentives are not about money. People don't do this for money. It's about recognition. Just like in our world, the bottom line lagging indicator that we're all focused on, the results that our CEO is always asking us to do, is what have you done for me today? What is the revenue implication of what you've done? So how do we tie this to revenue? Otherwise, we're just doing it and generating shiny, happy employees, and everybody is wonderful and kumbaya and all that, but we haven't done anything really material for our business. Oracle has found that they have generated 33% greater revenue off of their fully engaged customers as compared to those same customers, same size, same markets that are not engaged. Panasonic did quite a bit of research into their customer base and found that their customers who were in their top box loyalty scores were 5 times more likely to repurchase. And when you run the numbers, just moving somebody up from the next box down to the top box loyalty score generated $33.3 million in annual incremental revenue. That's material. Many of you have heard of GoDaddy, the internet domain registrar and web hosting company. By focusing, their gentleman, Bob Olson, was their equivalent of a chief customer officer some number of years ago. And he told me that by aligning their sales teams with the customer's needs, and aligning not just the sales team, but all employees, generated 1,100% revenue growth that he could directly attribute to this alignment towards the customer.